Welcome back to The Explainer. Look, today we're cutting straight through the noise because we have a topic that absolutely demands your attention. We're looking at a recent, incredibly revealing interview with Dario Amodei. Now, if you're following this space, you know he's the CEO of Anthropic, which is easily one of the most powerful and advanced artificial intelligence companies on the planet. He's not some pundit, right? He's not a sci-fi writer. This is the guy actively building the future of AI. And what he just revealed about the timeline for artificial general intelligence, or AGI, is literally a wake-up call for humanity. He laid out exactly what's coming, when it's coming, and what it's going to mean for us.
90%. Let that sink in for a second, because that number is the statistical anchor for our entire explainer today. When they pressed the Amodei on the timeline for actually achieving AGI, he didn't give some vague tech jargon, and he didn't hedge his bets. No, he flat out stated he is 90% confident that AGI is arriving within the next decade. Actually, scratch that. It's more immediate than that. He expects it in just 1 to 2 years. We are talking late 2026 or early 2027. He literally said the only things that might derail this are massive, unpredictable black swan events. Global supply chain collapses, severe internal company chaos, things like that. But short of that, he is practically certain this is happening in the time it takes a toddler to reach preschool. Crazy, right?
Okay, let's really dive into this, because a lot of people still think of AI as, a slightly faster way to write an email or a quirky image generator. But Amodei described the incoming AGI as a country of geniuses in a data center. Just visualize that for a moment. A country of geniuses. This isn't just software anymore. We're talking about an entity possessing the combined intellectual firepower of an entire nation of the smartest human beings to ever live. Sitting on servers, working tirelessly, zero sleep, no breaks, no hesitation whatsoever.
So what does AGI actually mean in practice? It's a machine that can think, reason, and perform at a level that matches or beats the best human minds on Earth across literally any domain. We're talking about a system that instantly possesses the intellect of a Nobel Prize-winning physicist, a world-renowned doctor, a top-tier corporate lawyer, and a master engineer all rolled into one. And here's the real kicker. Because it's digital, you can replicate it. It scales instantly, you can perform these massive, high-level cognitive tasks for almost zero cost. That completely shatters the paradigm of what human value even looks like in our economy.
Which brings us to a really fascinating and honestly pretty tense contradiction. Section 1. Cures versus careers.
Notice what happens whenever tech CEOs get asked about the disruption of AGI. They always pivot straight to the utopian outcomes. They talk about accelerating drug discovery, curing diseases, saving millions of lives. And look, those are absolutely real, highly anticipated benefits. But what they conveniently leave unsaid is the silent, parallel reality. The exact same system, brilliant enough to cure cancer, will simultaneously make radiologists and pharmaceutical researchers totally redundant. The system that can plan a mission to Mars, well, by definition, it's going to be able to replace millions of engineers, analysts, accountants, and lawyers. It's basically a technological Trojan horse. You get massive societal boons paired right alongside the potential destruction of highly skilled white-collar employment as we know it.
But there is a catch here, and Amodei is super clear about this. He calls it fast, but not infinitely fast diffusion. Basically, even if AGI drops in a data center in 2027, the physical world just moves slower. Let's walk through his timeline. Step 1, the AI discovers a miraculous cure in the lab in, say, 10 seconds. Amazing. But then you hit Step 2. The drug still has to be physically manufactured. Then Step 3, it has to clear human regulatory processes, like the FDA. And finally, Step 4, it actually gets out to the public. Amodei compares this to the COVID vaccines. We had the formula incredibly quickly, right? But manufacturing and distributing the whole shebang took a year and a half. So the physical world is going to act as this temporary bottleneck, kind of buffering the immediate impact of the digital breakthrough.
But that physical bottleneck is not going to last forever. This leads us to Section 2, when AGI gets a body.
And this brilliantly illustrates how the dominoes are going to fall. And they fall fast. According to Amodei, the timeline absolutely does not stop at digital AGI. Once we have AGI in late 2026 or 2027, that system is going to turn its massive intellect towards solving the physical world. He fully expects that within just 1 to 2 years after AGI is achieved, the entire field of robotics will be revolutionized. The AI will design vastly superior hardware, and more importantly, it'll know exactly how to perfectly pilot those physical forms. So suddenly you don't just have an AI doing your taxes. You have a physical machine that can walk right into a factory, a warehouse, or your office building and just do what humans do with their hands.
Okay, now we are reaching what I think is the most unsettling part of Amodei's entire interview. Section 3. The 2-minute warning. This right here is the singular thought that is keeping the CEO of Anthropic awake at night.
the world outside has no idea what is coming. There's this terrifying gap between the insulated world of AI labs and the reality of the everyday public. I mean, think about your own daily routine today. Most people are walking the dog, grabbing groceries, maybe stressing about next month's rent. Completely oblivious to the fact that just a few miles away in Silicon Valley, a small group of engineers is literally 1 or 2 years away from turning on a machine that will permanently alter human history. Amodei talked about how incredibly bizarre it feels to live in this bubble, knowing exactly what's coming while the rest of the world just goes about its day totally unaware.
Which honestly leads us to a pretty profound question about history itself. During the interview, Amodei was asked how historians are going to eventually look back on this exact period. When someone writes the AI equivalent of the making of the atomic bomb, what are they going to get wrong? What will the history books completely miss about what it's like to actually live through an exponential technological curve?
Well, the reality is staggering. See, historians usually make the past look so calculated, right? Like it was deliberate and inevitable. But Amodei says that because everything is compounding and it's all happening at once, there's literally no time for these grand, month-long philosophical debates. The decisions dictating the future of human freedom and global economics, they aren't happening in dramatic, smoky boardrooms. They're being made in rushed, casual, 2-minute hallway conversations before lunch. Someone literally hands him a half-page memo, says, "Hey, do we do A or B?" And because he's got to go eat and make 30 other massive choices that afternoon, he just picks one. We are rapidly approaching the singularity, and the steering wheel of humanity is just being casually nudged between coffee breaks. It's wild.
All right, let's pull all of this together, because the sheer speed of this is what really matters. First, Amodei is giving us a 90% probability that AGI arrives by 2026 or 2027. Second, remember, this isn't just software. It's an instantly scalable country of geniuses. Third, yes, it's going to cure diseases, but it brings absolutely unprecedented white-collar job redundancy with it. Fourth, the physical world is next. Robots are going to be completely revolutionized just 1 to 2 years after that. And finally, all of this entire future, is being built by a highly insulated group of people forced to make incredibly rushed, world-altering decisions while the public remains totally in the dark.
So I want to leave you with this final provocative thought to take away from our explainer today. The technology is accelerating, the timeline is shrinking, and the smartest people building it are telling us exactly what is about to happen. So I have to ask you, if a digital country of geniuses arrives on our servers in 2027, what are you going to be doing in 2028? How do you prepare your career, your family, and your own mindset for a world where human intellect is simply no longer the most powerful force on the planet? Think about it. Stay focused and keep learning.